All right, friends, are you ready to see how our book ends? Magic Treehouse number 33. We've actually got 3 chapters. So remember, Eric and his dad, they wanted to see, or Erickson, and which was really Leaf, they wanted to see Jack and Annie's ship, and they were worried because they don't have a ship. So, chapter 9, The Midnight Sun. Jack, Annie whispered, wake up. Jack rubbed his eyes. Where is everyone? He asked. I just checked, and they're asleep at the other end of the house. We've got to go. Now? Oh, maybe we should wait till daylight. No, they might get up before then, said Annie. You're right, said Jack, and he threw off the warm fur and sat up. Let's go, said Annie. She picked up the burning oil lamp, and Jack grabbed his bag. As they crept to the door, snoring came from the other end of the long house. They stopped at the bench by the door, and in the dim light of the lamp, they put on their coats and hats and mittens. We should write a note to Leaf, whispered Jack. Good idea, said Annie. Jack pulled out his notebook and pencil from his bag. How's this? He whispered as he wrote. Dear Leaf, we had to leave suddenly. We are borrowing your rowboat to go back to the bay. We will leave it where we met you. Many thanks to you and your family. Perfect, said Annie. And let's leave him our map since he liked it so much. Good idea, breathed Jack. He tore the note from the notebook and placed it on the bench with their map. Jack and Annie pulled on their gloves. Then they opened the door and they slipped out of the house. It was freezing outside, but to Jack's surprise, it was sunny. What time is it? He said. I thought it was night. Me too, said Annie, but no one's around, not even the dogs. Hurry. Jack and Annie took off down the hill. In the cold, windy sunlight, they hurried to the shore. Small waves were splashing against the moored Viking ships. Leaf's rowboat was tied to the pier near them. And there they are, running down the hill towards the ship. Jack and Annie stepped onto the pier, and Jack untied the rope. Just as he and Annie were about to climb aboard, someone yelled, Stop! Oh, no, said Annie. Leaf was limping down the hill toward them, and he held their note and the map in his hand. I heard you leave, then I read your message. I must take you to your ship. It is not easy to row in windy waters. But your knee still hurts, I can tell, said Annie. Leaf shrugged. That's not important. We should go quickly so I can return before morning. Morning? But I thought it was morning. It's sunny. No, it's close to midnight, said Leaf. You have come to the time of the midnight sun. Oh, I get it, Annie said to Jack, on a day that seems endless with no dark of night. Right, said Jack. Now he remembered the midnight sun. In the very far north, the summer sun can actually still be seen at midnight. Here, you forgot this, said Leaf, and he thrust the map and note into Jack's hands. You will need your map to sail your ship home. No, we won't, said Jack. We know the way. You need it more. And he handed the map back to Leaf. Oh. Leaf stared at the map as if it were made of gold. Oh, I cannot believe you would give this to me, he said in a hushed voice. Thank you very much. No problem, said Annie, and Leaf smiled. Let us go, he said. Jack put the note into his coat pocket, then he and Annie climbed aboard. Leaf sat across from them, and he began rowing through the choppy water. Tell me about your land. What is it like? Well, it has everything, said Annie. It has mountains and valleys and oceans and rivers. Yeah, and lakes and forests and grassy plains and farms and towns and huge towns called cities. With the wind at their backs, Leaf rowed swiftly. The water was bathed in a gold mist. Soon Leaf rowed the boat from Eric's Inlet to the bay. You can drop us off there, said Jack. He pointed to the shore where they saved the narwhal. But where is your ship? I'm really sorry, but we promised the person who owns it that we would not show it to anyone. I understand, Leaf said. We must always honor our promises. You should hurry home before your mom and dad wake up, said Annie. They'll be worried if they find you missing. Yes, said Leaf, smiling. They will think that I have sailed away with you. They know I am eager to travel to faraway places. Leaf rowed to the shore, and Jack and Annie hopped out of the boat. Goodbye, the Viking boy said. I thank you again for your map. I promise I will make good use of it. And I promise that you will have great success, said Jack. Do you think so, said Leaf. Absolutely, said Annie. Leaf raised his arms above his head and clenched his fists. Yay, he said. Jack and Annie laughed, and Leaf waved goodbye, using his oars, and he pushed the boat offshore. I hope your knee feels better soon, called Annie. I've already forgotten about it, Leaf called Jack. Then he rode away through the soft light of the Arctic night. Leaf really is tough and brave, said Annie. He'll make a really good explorer. Yeah, he'll make a great one, said Jack. He took a deep breath. I guess we can go now. Jack and Annie walked around the bend to the shore. But Annie gasped, Jack, look! What? Said Jack. But there in the water, near the edge of the ice. It's a narwhal, whispered Jack. Yes, said Annie, our narwhal. And that takes us to chapter 10, a word that glows. Remember that was part of their rhyme, a word that glows? Hi, you're back, said Annie. The narwhal was about 10 feet away. He was swimming near a sheet of ice that jutted out from the shore. His ivory tusk pointed at them. Is something wrong with him? Said Jack. Why is he here? He wants to tell us something, said Annie. How do you know? Said Jack. I just know, said Annie. I'm going out to him. I'll crawl on the ice. No, don't, said Jack. The ice could crack. Don't worry, it's really thick, said Annie. It's probably been here for thousands of years. Annie stepped out onto the packed ice. Then she got on her hands and knees and began crawling toward the narwhal. Careful, said Jack. I got it, said Annie, reaching the edge of the ice. The narwhal raised his head above the water. Hi, you, what's up? Said Annie, grinning. Why did you come back? The narwhal made noises that sounded like a door creaking. Then he tapped Annie's head with his unicorn horn. Annie laughed. Thank you, she said. Then the narwhal turned and swam away. He soon disappeared under the water. And there's the narwhal in the water, and it's tapping its horn, its tusk on Annie. Annie crawled back toward Jack, and she stepped off the ice sheet onto the shore. That was cool, she said. What happened? Said Jack. Simple. He came back to thank us. You're kidding, said Jack. Nope, said Annie. That's basically what he said. Thanks. And then I said thanks back. That's all, said Jack. That's enough, said Annie. Jack took a deep breath. Okay, now we can leave. He and Annie quickly walked over the slope. The tree house was still sitting on the pebbly shore. It was lit by the orange and red light of the midnight sun. Jack and Annie slipped through the window. Annie grabbed the Pennsylvania book that always took them home. She pointed to a photo of the Frog Creek woods. I wish we could go there. But nothing happened. The wind did not start to blow. I wish we could go there, Annie said again. The wind still did not start to blow. Why aren't we leaving? Said Jack. Let's look at our rhyme, said Annie, at the last verse. So Jack pulled the rhyme out of his bag and he read aloud. Explore different worlds, show friends where to go. Okay, we did that. We showed our friends where to go. We gave Leaf our map, and we showed the narwhal how to escape the shallow water. Yeah, we did all that, and I wasn't even thinking about the rhyme. Okay, keep reading, said Annie. So Jack read the last two lines. Unite all these worlds with a word that will glow. Oh, I forgot about those lines, said Jack. What do they mean? What's the word? I don't know, but if it glows, it must be written down somewhere. Check your notebook. So Jack pulled out his notebook that he and Annie looked at it together. Oh man, I forgot to take any notes. Well, what about our Greenland book? He took out the Greenland book and thumbed through it. There's nothing glowing in here. Well, wait, what about our message to Leaf's family? Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out his crumpled note. He and Annie looked together. Nothing. Hold on, said Annie. Look at the letter T. Annie pointed at the letter T near the bottom of their note. That letter seemed a little brighter than the other letters. Then suddenly it glowed like it was on fire. Next to the T, the letter H grew brighter, then A, then the letter N. One by one, the letters grew brighter until THANKS, all aglow, and that spells thanks. Thanks, cried Annie. That's the word. Thanks, said Jack. Why thanks? I'll explain it when we get back, but we can go now. So Annie pointed to the picture of Frog Creek again. I wish we could go there. Then the wind started to blow. Yay, it worked. And say it with me, friends, the treehouse started to spin. And then it spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. And that takes us to chapter 11, called You. Warm air filled the treehouse. No time at all had passed in Frog Creek. The sky was dark blue, and the first stars were out. Jack and Annie were wearing their summer clothes again. Welcome home, said Annie. Jack sighed with relief. Frog Creek seemed especially nice in the soft twilight. The woods smelled of green trees and green plants. Let's go, said Jack. He left Morgan's rhyme, the Greenland book, and their note for Leaf on the floor of the treehouse. Then he put his notebook into his backpack and headed down the rope ladder, and Annie followed. As Jack and Annie started through the woods, the air was filled with sounds of crickets and tree frogs. So, do you get it about thanks? Annie asked. Well, sort of, but that word seems so ordinary. People say it all the time. They don't even think about it. Exactly, said Annie. So let's think about it. Okay, said Jack. You say thanks when someone helps you or is nice to you or gives you a gift, right? Yeah, said Jack. Well, Leaf helped us to free the narwhal, and we said thanks. His parents gave us food, and we said thanks. We gave Leaf our map, and he said thanks. The narwhal came back, and he said thanks. And then I thanked him for thanking us and for just being amazing. And here they are walking through the woods, headed back home. Got it, said Jack. But what does thanks do? Annie took a deep breath. Okay, this is the important part. When the Vikings say thanks to us and we thank them, our worlds join with their world. We unite our worlds. Like the rhyme says, 2 worlds 1,000 years apart come together. Whoa, that is cool, said Jack. Jack and Annie came out of the woods and started down the sidewalk. There's more, said Annie. Her eyes were shining. When the narwhal says thanks, our world joins his world, a world in the darkest, deepest sea that no one knows much about. But if people really know how to thank narwhals just for being amazing and how to hear their thanks, it could change everything. Like it might even save narwhals if they're in danger. She sounded so close to tears. Do you get it now? She asked Jack. Yeah, I do actually, said Jack. Thanks to you. No, thanks to you, said Annie. No, you, said Jack. No, you. Thanks to both of us, shouted Annie. Come on, we're late, said Jack. Him and Annie ran down the dark street and they crossed their yard. They dashed up the porch and steps and banged through the front door. Mom, Dad, we're home, shouted Annie. Thanks for everything, said Jack. And then here's one more picture again of Jack and Annie with Leaf and his dad. So that's the end of our last Magic Tree House of first grade. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you have a love for listening to stories. And even though you won't have Miss Lauder to read you stories, maybe you can ask your mom and dad to find chapter books, or you can go to the library and check out more Magic Tree House books, and they can read you chapters at night before you go to bed. It's always fun to have someone else read to you. So I love you, and I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you keep reading. Mwah! Love you, friends. Bye.